Hello everyone, welcome back to the class once again. So today we are going to start the Vedic period. So Vedic period. So first of all we need to understand about the origin of the Aryans. The Aryans, where did they come from? Where did the Aryans come from? So there are two theories regarding the origin of the Aryans. The first theory was propounded by Lokmanya Tilak. You might have heard about Lokmanya Tilak, also known as Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Very much active during the national movement. He was from the extremist group and very active member of the national movement. So Lokmanya Tilak. So he had given the theory regarding the origin of the Aryans, from where did they come from. So he had given a view that these Aryans came from the polar region. But this theory had faced a lot of criticism, met with a lot of criticism. So this theory became a theory itself, and later on one more German ideologist, his name was Max Muller. He was from Germany. So German ideologist, he had put forward the theory that the Aryans had come from Caspian Sea region. The Caspian Sea region where the origin, from where they came, or they might have come from Central Asia. And this theory is widely accepted by most of the scholars of our country. So the theory regarding the origin, we normally understand that they came from Central Asia and spread to different parts of Europe and Asia. From there they spread to Europe as well as in Asia. So now let us talk about the origin of the word Aryans. The Aryans is the word they are derived from Sanskrit word Arya. Arya is the Sanskrit word derived from Sanskrit, and the meaning of Arya is civilized or noble. Civilized or noble. So this is the one, civilized or noble, the meaning of Arya. So on the basis of that, the whole thing became Aryans. Aryans, they came from Central Asia. So when they came to India, where did they settle first? So they settled in a Sapta Sindhu region. This is the region, Sapta Sindhu. They settled in a Sapta Sindhu. They settled in a Sapta Sindhu region. Sapta Sindhu region, the land of 7 rivers. They settled in a region known as Sapta Sindhu, river Indus, Sapta Sindhu region, which is a land of 7 rivers. So which are the rivers? River Sindhu. So number 1, river Sindhu. Number 2, river Chenab. Number 3, river Vyas. Number 4, river Jhelum and river Ravi. And last two one is the Satluj and the Saraswati river. The rivers where these Aryans settled in the early phase of coming in country, and later on, when the population of the Aryans went on increasing, they spread to the interior part of India. So the early Vedic period, the entire story revolves around this region only. They settled in this region. So this region, when they settled it over here, and the life which started over there came to be known as early Vedic period. So the Aryans, when they came in an early phase of their migration, they settled in the Sapta Sindhu region, and that period is known as early Vedic period. And later on, with the growing population as well as with the discovery of iron and all, they migrated to or spread to different parts of our country. So that is included in the later 3 Vedas, which we'll discuss. So now, in order to understand more clearly about the social life, political life, economic life, as well as their religious life, we need to understand from various sources. Now let us discuss about the literary sources, because without any sources we cannot reconstruct the history of the past. The first one we have is Rig Veda. Altogether 4 Vedas are there. 4 Vedas are there. 4 Vedas are there. First one is Rig Veda. Second one is Sam Veda. Third one is Yajur Veda, and the fourth one is Athar Veda. So Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Yajur Veda, and Athar Veda. So the 4 Vedas. First one is Rig Veda. So Rig Veda mainly contains various hymns, the songs sung in order to praise God. So hymns are sung in order to praise God. So mainly contains various hymns for prayer. So prayer to Vedic gods. So they were sung in order to please the Vedic gods such as Agni god. Then Indra was there, god Indra was there, Mitra was there, Vayu was there, and Surya was there, sun god was. Rig Veda was written in the early Vedic period, and rest of the three Vedas were written in the later Vedic period. So the second one is Samved. So what does Samved contain? So it represents the force of spiritual knowledge. It represents the force of spiritual knowledge and power of devotion. How we can show or do our devotion. Devotion means bhakti. What are the ways through which we can give our life for praising God? So proper way of devotions are mentioned in the Samved. Now the third one is Yajurved. What does Yajurved contain? So Yajur, it contains 1975 verse and mantras in 40 chapters. How many chapters are there? 40 chapters. Within these 40 chapters, what is mentioned? Verses and mantras are there. So it is included in Yajurved. Mantras are there. Okay. And the last one we have is last one among the four Vedas we have is Atharved. So this is the one Atharved. Atharved is a collection of 730. 730. So please clearly zoom this. 730 hymns, 600 mantras. Okay. 730 hymns, 600 mantras, which is divided into how many books? 20 books. Which is divided into 20 books. So altogether 730 hymns are there, 600 mantras are there, and it is divided into 20 books. So this is all about the four Vedas which we have. So I think we need to understand and keep a knowledge about the Vedas, because these are the source of our knowledge. Many of the foreign universities Veds are taught. Rig Veda is definitely taught in their college and universities. So this Veds gives us more information. It throws light on the life of the early Aryans as well as the later Vedic period. It throws light on the social life of the Aryans, social life, political life, economic life, and as well as the religious life of the people of the early Aryans. The four Vedas altogether were known as Samhita. The four Vedas altogether were known as Samhita. The four Vedas together were known as Samhita. Okay. Why it was called Samhita? Because it represented the oral tradition. It represented the oral tradition of that time. During this time, it was not written. When it was first sung in order to praise God, it was not written. It was not in the form of a written book. Later on, it was written. But initially, at first stage, it was not at all written. That is why it was known as Samhita. Okay, and that is why even it was not in the form of a written book. That is why it was also known as Shruti. Altogether, the four Vedas are known as Samhita. It was not in the form of written form. That is why it was also known as Shruti. This many of the scholars like Max Muller, Indologist, he was also of the opinion that this Vedas or the early Vedic period represented the period between 1500 BC to 1000 BC. 1500 BC to 1000 BC. That was the time when these people came and settled down in the Sapta Sindhu region. Okay. So now let's discuss about Upanishad. What does Upanishad deal with? It deals with philosophical questions. And it was compiled around 600 BC. Upanishad was compiled at around 600 BC, and it deals with philosophical questions. Apart from the philosophy of the Aryans, it also deals with the social, religious, political and economic life of the Aryans. Let us say mostly social and religious life of the Aryans are dealt with within this Upanishad, which was written in 600 BC. Now Vedangas. So what does Vedangas contain? So what does Vedangas contains? So altogether there are 6 in number. Vedangas are 6 in number. Vedangas are 6 in number, and it deals mostly with the religious practices, pronunciations, grammar, science, like science of words and astronomy. So apart from Vedangas, we have Smritis. So what does Smriti contain? So you know that this is, or that means this is the origin of the Hindu's law. Smriti is the origin of the Hindu law. Manusmriti. You might have heard about Manusmriti. Manusmriti. Mostly we Indians know about Manusmriti. Manusmriti is the earliest legal system. Manusmriti is the earliest legal system and deals with the codes of law. It deals with the codes of law, like a judicial process, judicial procedures, and rights and duties of the four castes. Four castes are there that we'll discuss about it later on, like Brahmanas were there, Kshatriyas were there, then again Vaishyas were there, and the lowest one were the Sudras were there. So the code of conduct, the rights and duties of the four castes are mentioned in the Manusmriti. Now the next one we have is Purans. Purans is one of the old book of the Hindus. Okay, what does the Puran deals with? It deals with the old dynasties of the king. Old dynasties of the king, or Vansacharita. Old dynasty of the kings, Vansacharita. Vans, which all Vans came. Okay, that is discussed. That is written in the Purans, and this is one of the most important purpose of history. So we need to know about the kings, dynasties of the king. Who were the kings who ruled and what were the type of administration like during those period is mentioned in the Purans. So this is all about the 5 literary sources which throws light on the early Vedic, that means the Vedic age. So apart from the 8 literary sources, we have 2 more that comes under epic. First one is Ramayana and second one is Mahabharata. Who wrote Ramayana and who wrote Mahabharata? Okay, it was written by V-A-Y-S-A. Okay, Ved Vyas. So what is all about? What is what does Ramayana and Mahabharata contain? So definitely, Ramayana is a conflict between what you call it, Ram, okay, and Raman, okay. The central character, central figure of Ramayana is Ram, Lord Ram, and his wife Mata Sita, and Ravan, the king of Lanka, okay. And the story revolves around the conflict between the Aryans and the non-Aryans. The conflict between the Aryans and the non-Aryans. So you might have heard about the story of Ramayana, where Ram is exiled for 14 years, and during the exile, that means Sita, the wife of Mata Sita, is what you call it. Was taken away, kidnapped, let us say in a modern term, kidnapped by Ravan. Okay, Ravan comes disguised as a bhikshuk, and then he takes away Sita. So Ram and Lakshman later on takes the help of the monkey king and all, and with the help of Hanuman, they manage to reach Lanka, and fierce battle takes place between Ram's troops, Lord Ram troops, along with the monkey kings and all, and on the other side the powerful ruler of Lanka, Ravan. There was fierce battle takes place, and finally they become victorious. Ram, Lakshman and all, they become victorious, and they manage to free Sita from the clutches of Ravan, and they return back. So when they return back, everywhere darkness was there. It was very dark. So that day, people celebrate it as Deepavali, right? Before the Dasera, we call it, no? So Dasera means the killing of Dasera, 10 heads. Ravan had 10 heads and all. This is all about mythology. I have heard and I have studied. Okay. So after Ravan is been killed, all these groups return back to Ayodhya, and everybody welcomes Ram, Sita and Lakshman, lighting diyas in front of the houses and all. So that day we celebrate as Deepavali. Okay, so that we know it's a part of our Indian culture. So every Indian knows about Ramayana and all the festivals related with Ramayana and all. The another one we have is Mahabharata. So the little knowledge even I have about Mahabharata also. Okay, so Mahabharata is a conflict. It's a conflict between Pandavas and the Kauravas. they belong to the same family. They belong to the same family, but ego class results into a conflict between both the brothers' son. Okay, Pandu, the king Pandu had 5 sons, and one other brother, his name was Dhritarashtra. He had 100 sons, and among the 100 sons, one son was very strong, and he wanted to be the king after his father. His name was Duryodhana and all. So it is a family clash between both the brothers' family, Pandavas and the Kauravas. So finally, at the end, you know the story. At the end, what happens? The Kauravas completely gets destroyed, and Pandavas, they become successful after a series of war being fought for a long period. Okay, so here it is mentioned that number of Aryan rulers, they got involved in this great war. Number of great kings of that time, Aryan rulers of that time, they were involved in the great war which was known as Mahabharata. Okay, so these two epics throws enough light, political, social, as well as cultural life of the period of that time is thrown through both these books, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So these are two very important books. So mostly children will be asked, so who wrote Ramayana? So definitely you will write down Valmiki wrote Ramayana. Who wrote Mahabharata? Then Ved Vyas wrote Mahabharata. In the next class, we'll start again the life of the early Vedic period and the later Vedic period. We'll try to differentiate between the early Vedic period and the later Vedic period. So what type of society it had, what was the position of the women in the early Vedic period, and what was the position of women in the later Vedic period. So that all those we'll discuss in the next class. Okay, so till then, please go to this video, watch it properly. So this much for today. Thank you very much.